Whoa! Pretty. So we got two 75s and a 71 that time. What a freaking awesome boat, you guys. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to the boat gang. All right, we got the Oxidean Marine Oxi-digger on the block. Okay, this is a 34-inch, almost ready to run wood rigger that's fully assembled. Okay, you get this boat ready to go, basically. Okay, today we're going to get the boat ready for the water. All right, it comes, you know, separate pieces. We're going to have to attach the sponsons to the boom tubes, attach the boom tubes basically to the tub. All right, I gotta change out a connector. I'm gonna go QS8 instead of the EC8. We're gonna add our transmitter. Okay, we're going to be running a SR515 with a DX5 rugged. Got to install the turn fins, get that set up, find our CG with the batteries that we're running, get the rudder linkage and rudder blade on the boat. Okay, so there's quite a bit here to do. Probably gonna be a long video. Stick around. Big B, wood ironclad artist. Boat's pretty impressive in person. To see the workmanship, the detail, the craftsmanship to went into a mass-produced wood hull, I'm pretty impressed. You know, it's and I know what it takes to put together a boat hull, and I'm impressed with the quality of this rigger hull. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and get my connector changed out to so we can hook up our transmitter receiver. Okay, so we can find center on our servo, and we can get our steering, linkage, and rudder assembled. Okay, once we get that done, we can kind of go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this QS8 soldered up. Okay, so I got my connector soldered up, easy peasy. Okay, left the ESC in the boat. It just made sense. Okay, and I actually singed my connector and it was actually kind of hard to get this guy in there because I hit the freaking edge of the inner piece. So I got it worked out. It's on there. It's ironclad. It'll be fine. Okay, so we actually need to figure out battery mounts. Okay, I'm going to use dual lock Velcro heavy duties. Okay, and just put some dual lock on my batteries, dual lock in the boat, just line this whole area with dual lock. All right, that should allow us to lock our battery in. We'll probably get us some like jam foam, jam in here, maybe put a piece like right there so our battery don't come up and hit the hatch in a crash. Okay, so that's a very important aspect of the build. You gotta figure out battery mounting because you don't want this thing just kind of flopping around there. Okay, Oxidean, they basically took care of everything for you. There's a couple minor things that you got to work out, which you got to do that with any boat. You know what I mean? I got my JST run through the bulkhead there, got it hooked up to the steering channel on my receiver. I just wanted to point this out, that there's actually a second JST through hole on your bulkhead and a through hole for your water cooling on your bulkhead. All right, thought that was pretty cool. I also noticed this last night when I was kind of going through the boat. I didn't notice this in the initial review of the boat, but like when I put it in the light, look right here. Okay, they actually did a cutout on the tub bottom. Okay, and I guess that's to get the motor mounted as low as they could, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay, you guys see that? So that's basically connected to your rear ski. Okay, you notice the back of the rear ski is actually enclosed, encapsulated. So the rear ski on this boat is actually part of the tub. Okay, so you know, I find that interesting, and actually makes sense. You know, it actually makes sense. It's going to be a little tough to get your stuffing tube out. Well, actually not really. It's epoxied in a little bit there, and basically epoxied in where it goes through the hull. Okay, so I've got Oxi-digger programmed into my DX5 rugged. Let's go ahead and quadruple check the polarity, square in to square in. Okay. So here goes nothing. We checked the polarity. Let's check it again, just for safe measure. Okay, so we got it plugged in. We're going to hit bind on our transmitter. Just follow your transmitter binding. Yours may be different than mine. I got a blinking light. I held that down. Blinking light lets me know it's in bind mode. Hold that guy there down. Going to go to bind, binding, ready to roll. Ooh, 4S. That's 4S, boys. Alright, so you'll actually need if you want to do any programming on your Hobbywing 180, you'll need the Hobbywing program card, the blue one, not the red one. The red one will not work with a Marine ESC. So we're going to make sure our trims are at 0. They are. We're going to grab our bellow. This is a rubber bellow. Okay, this goes on that through hole right there. Basically just slides on. Actually provide a zip tie for the bellow. It goes right here. I'll do it off camera just so I'm not fiddling around. And we'll grab our rudder. You're going to need some blue Loctite for your rudder grub screw right here. This is what holds the pin in. Basically just take that grub screw out, make sure you Loctite it, put it back, put your pin back in, grub screw back in, Loctited, and you got your rudder. Okay, get your steering linkage. Okay, again, take all your grub screws out, Loctite all your grub screws. It's very, very important. These boats have a lot of vibrations. If you built the boat right, it won't have many vibrations at all, but they do have vibrations, shocks, and it will vibrate your grub screws loose. So I do recommend Loctite. Okay, this gets run into this clevis style push rod connector. Okay, let's see if I can do this without losing everything. Get a little tray here. Alright, and it's going to be the smaller ones. A little bit of Loctite. Oh! Oh, man. Oh, man. So I lost that little grub screw. My rudder hit the edge of this, and it flipped all my freaking hardware behind the table, behind the hot water heater. Jeez. So I couldn't find one of the nuts, man. And I was like, geez, man, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. And I looked through all my nuts and bolts. I didn't find one. So I run to the hobby shop. I picked up the closest size they had, which was this 256 steel. It's not a locking nut, so I picked up a couple packs of them so I could, like, you know, make a jam nut for it. Okay, and a 256 socket head screw. I get home, I spent like 40 bucks there. I had to get a heat shrink, a couple odd ends, so I'm kind of glad I went. Spent 40 bucks. I come home, I pull my table out, and my screw sitting, my nut was sitting right there. Jeez. So I got the steering rod in place. I did lose that grub screw. That's impossible to find. So I used the steel one. Okay. Golly, boy. So I got those locked in. Okay. I also Loctited my steering arm onto the rudder. That's very important. That grub screw will, you know, back itself off, especially under load. Okay. So I got my transmitter, like my steering channel, zeroed out. Okay, what you want to do now is line the rudder up with the side of the tub. Okay, just get it zeroed out with the tub there, and Loctite this screw, or this grub screw right here. Okay, Loctite that bad boy, tighten up on this locking nut on the bottom. We got steering. Okay, like I said, I'm going to be taking it all apart. I'm going to install this kick up rudder bracket. All right, so we got power. So basically we need to get our boom tube set into the tub. I just disassembled it so I could show you guys. Okay, so you have a 6mm boom tube with a collar. Okay, these collars, there's 4 of them. 2 specific ones for the aft boom tube, 2 specific ones for the forward boom tube. Okay, so you basically gonna need to adjust these later on, so you know I wouldn't go too tight on it on your initial lockdown. Okay, you're basically going to slide these in to the tub. Okay, we're going to be measuring this here in a few. Okay, then you take your other collar. I've already got blue Loctite on this one. I still haven't done the back, but that's basically going to go on the other side like so. Okay, and then we'll lock it down. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to take my ruler and I'm going to go on the tub and measure out from the tub. I'm going to try to find center. So make sure that your collar, it's lined up with this hole right here. Okay, that's basically what your sponson will be held on with. Okay, same. Well, this one right here, not so much. It'll actually spin freely. Okay, just the back one, because it's got that little recess right there. Okay, so make sure those are up and down. All right, now we can go ahead and put both of our sponsons on. Just be careful when you're putting them on there. Kind of go in even with both boom tubes, you know what I'm saying, so that you don't bend these aluminum sleeves. Okay, and I think I'm going to run mine. I feel safer if I run mine with my screw set on this, if you're looking at the boat from center, on this outside position. Okay, if we run it right here, I just feel like, you know, I feel comfortable running it here, you know. So we're going to basically drop in these little screws that freaking, oh, there it goes again, there it goes again. Okay, so I got my driver here. Let's go ahead and drive these guys home. Okay, and we'll put the nut on. All right, you know, it's going to be a rocky road with this boat. You know, I've run small riggers, and I've never actually gotten. I've built all my riggers from scratch. You know, and I've never actually gotten a rigger to, actually my shrimp rigger, it actually ran pretty good. But I've learned so much with all my fails running those smaller riggers, and my micro rigger, it actually ran good too. You know, the only one I couldn't get running good was that freaking Oshman Hobbies rigger, you know, micro NE stuff knockoff rigger. I could never get that thing running good. So you know what I'm trying to say is I'll be the first to admit if I'm not good at doing something, you know, like my F1 tunnel hull, you know, I know how to tune other boats much better than that F1. Same thing with a rigger, you know. I just go through the paces and I do my best to help you guys out, and you guys learn with me, you know. Like I said in the previous video with this thing, it'll be a journey for us, you know. I don't claim to know everything, never will claim to know everything, you know. I think this boat's awesome. I really do. I really do. I think it's going to be a performer. All the angles and stuff I'm seeing on the ride surfaces, it all makes sense to me, you know. I think it's going to be a performer. I really do. Okay, so we got those... we got these guys here drove into our collars here, or I guess these are sleeves. So let's go ahead and back them up with the nuts, okay? And then we can actually, we'll be able to get these guys here. I'm gonna start with them dead nuts straight from the tub, okay? That's where I'm gonna start at. You can tow these in. That's what these collars are for. You can tow them in, you can tow them out, blah blah blah, you know. So we'll get everything measured out, get it flipped over, put those nuts on. Okay, so I'm actually Loctiting these nuts on there because I know my local hobby shop don't carry them. So I'm Loctiting them on here so we don't lose it. Okay, probably a smart idea. There's not much threads sticking out, so it might not grab the nylon locking part of the nut, so blue Loctite it. I just used some green electrical tape to tape the sponson onto the boom tube, just to relieve a little bit of the pressure being put on that screw so it don't wire out the carbon fiber tube and wire out the aluminum collar here, or sleeve, keep wanting to call it collar. So just taking a little bit of pressure off of it. Just kind of feels natural to me, because I do that to all my riggers, tape my sponson on. So little extra additional protection doesn't hurt. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna kind of feel this out. Okay, I got it on my tub. Got a basically, well, 16.5 on the front. Go to the back, just see where it's at, because we're going to need to adjust it. Oh, damn, pretty good. 16.5. All right, so let's see what this side looks like. That ain't bad for my initial setup. Okay, so this one right here is 16.5. That is pretty freaking good. Oh man, I got lucky. Damn, that's on the money. 16.5 all the way around. I didn't even spend much time when I put my collars on, because I knew I was going to need to adjust these. So it actually looks pretty freaking good for my initial run. I've got dead nut 16.5 all the way around. A lot of guys spend a lot of time on this part, and you can actually, it looks pretty freaking good, boys. You can actually like loosen this up and give yourself some toe in, or toe out, or whatever, depending on what you're doing. You can actually run, like I said earlier, you can run this sponson closer to the tub, this one out a little farther from the tub. If you're doing ovals, that'll kind of offset the drive line. Like if you're doing or running big props, that might be a good way to run your boat. Running big props, you offset the tub on the sponsons. It's just kind of like offsetting the drive line. It'll counteract torque roll from big props, which I actually have an ARTR 1740 3-blade I want to run on this thing. I hope it works, because I've had it for a while, never found a boat to run it on. It's a rigger prop. Actually got a 4818 on this thing, for this thing too. So okay, so this is all Loctite. I guess you want to make sure there's no play in your collars. If there's play, just kind of push this collar up tight to the tub. Make sure there's no side to side play, which mine looks pretty good. I'm just going to go through and cinch these down for my Loctite drives. I'm going to go ahead and do that. You guys set up on the transom. We're going to go ahead and set up this Z strut before we put our turn fin on. Okay, I went ahead and removed my rudder. Remember I had mentioned that we're going to have to remove it later on to get this guy right here set up, because we don't have a setup board. So once we get done with this, we'll polish up that turn fin, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, so I'm actually noticing this ruler right here. It actually fits under the forward section of the strut. Perfect. Really don't rub that much. And on the back, it's actually rubbing. Okay, so I loosened up this screw right here. It's got one adjustable screw, and you got some forward or positive and negative adjustability. Not much. Basically, the boat's going to be riding on this rear ski and the two forward sponsons. Okay, so we want this basically the same height. Okay, we want it neutral, no positive, no negative. Alright, and that actually feels pretty good. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. We'll keep my ruler right there, put a little bit of pressure on the boat while I'm tightening it down. Okay, this has a nylon locking nut on it, so you really don't need to put any Loctite on here. Alright, I'm putting some down pressure on it with my strut on the ruler. That should give me the angle I'm looking for, and that actually seems pretty good. Let's check it out. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yes, sir, buddy. Yes, sir, buddy. It's not hitting it at all. That's perfect, man. All right, so we're actually going to grease up our flex cable and all that. So I'm actually noticing that this drive dog is a little bigger than I would put on here. Okay, I would think you would need a drive dog that's actually the same size as the Z-bend strut barrel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I got a couple small 3/16 drive dogs that we may put on here later on. We're going to run it like it is, but I definitely going to change this out. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's just a little bit bigger than the Z-bend. Okay, the barrel there, and I would think we won't a nice like transition, you know what I mean? So yeah, let's see what else we can find. Your strut, your rudder, and your turn fin are probably three most important parts of a rigger setup, I would imagine. Okay, so I actually went out to the shop, buffed up, just kind of lightly buffed it up with my bench buffer, put a light polish on it, nothing too crazy. Okay, and we're just gonna set it right dead center its mounting position. Okay, I have a 4S battery in the boat, and we'll start with that. This is a 6300 4S, and we'll put the 6000 in. We'll kind of do CG with both. First, we're going to find our CG, and then we can find where our fins are going to be. So as far as I know, like I said, I'm no professional, and from hull to hull it differs where your CG needs to be in relation to your turn fin. Usually you kind of go with the leading edge, leading edge of your turn fin. This is the trailing edge. So let's pick the boat up, see where our CG point is, and then kind of go from there with it. Basically the battery's where it's going to be at. There's real no forward and back adjustability with this big battery. Okay, so I'll pick it up. Okay, so with this battery, with the 4S battery, our CG is basically right here. Okay, so that's where our CG is with a 4S battery. Let's throw the 6S battery in here. So we basically have our CG points marked. This is a heavy 4S battery. It's a quality battery. This is a light 6S battery, so the CG is about the same. Okay, and looking at the boat, down the boom tubes here, finding our CG. Okay, I feel like I should start with my turn fin right there. Okay, that's gonna be on the leading edge on 4S, perfect, and just ahead of the leading edge on 6S. If we have it pushed forward right there, that might actually kind of split the difference. You guys see that? So I think that's where I'm going to start at. Just notice this with this turn fin, it's only forward and aft adjustable. So you got about that much adjustability. Okay, if you want more adjustability, you can take a file and file some off of the ends of these elongated holes, forward and aft on the holes, and you can get a little bit more forward and aft adjustability out of your turn fin. It does not adjust up and down. Okay, it's actually preset from Oxidean, which is actually pretty cool. I don't know why I was thinking it would adjust up and down. Okay, so if you do need a little bit of angle, or takes, up or down angle, you can actually take a file and widen these elongated holes, widen them up and down, so you can get a little bit of up and down angle on it. Okay, positive or negative angle, I guess. So I'm actually going to tighten them down forward. I got my receiver in. Okay, I got the receiver antenna mounted up. The wires run velcroed on. Okay, all's left is basically greasing up the shaft. Okay, we got all this set. Like I said, the turn fin, center of gravity, and your rudder is the most important part. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get this greased up. I'll let you guys go. So this kit actually comes with the grease. Might as well use it. Okay, I don't even know how I'm gonna put it on. What the best way to put it? Oh man, it's gonna make a freaking mess, boy. Alright, so we're just going to grease it up for our initial run. Okay, I'll probably put some of my grease on there. Oh, that's some thick grease. That's actually pretty good. I found the best way to grease this up is I'm using a pipe cleaner. And what I do when I push my shaft through, before I push it into the coupler, I'll use this pipe cleaner to get any grease off my cable. Okay, I'll basically like spin my cable while I push it into the coupler, and that just kind of gets any grease off of there, because I really don't fully rely on my grub screws to hold this cable in. I actually kind of go kind of heavy on the Loctite. Okay, I kind of Loctite my cable into the coupler, and it's kind of a pain in the butt having to grease it up every time I take my boat out. Okay, but I'll put it in there, and I'm spinning my cable right now. Okay, I'm spinning Loctite on my cable, and I know what you guys are thinking. Big B, you're crazy. You know, I got a little baby blowtorch that's specifically, I specifically got it just for these cases right here, because the last thing I want to lose is a $30 cable and a $30 prop. Okay, so I make sure my cable is in that collet. So just make sure it's on the flat spots. All right, kind of wiggle your cable back and forth, make sure it's on the flat spot, and then literally gorilla tight that bad boy on there. Okay, I'm not even kidding. Get you a rag, whatever you gotta do. Make sure that thing's on there. Okay. Loctite on the coupler here. I'm just gonna kind of clean it up. All we got left to do now is basically wire consolidation, which I'll do off camera, and install our prop. Let's test the drive line. When you're using bullet nuts, I don't really trust them. You know, I used to run them, and then I quit running them for a long time. And then I started running them again, and I lost a lot of props with bullet nuts. I lose the bullet nut and the prop. Even Loctiting my freaking bullet nut, I've had them back off. I don't trust them. Okay, I don't trust them. But get them tight as hell. Loctite them. Okay, blue Loctite them. You know. All right, especially if it's a damn prop you spent a lot of time on, or it was an expensive prop, Loctite it. It's not worth it. Got a little 4S battery. Reversed the polarity on my ESC. It was spinning backwards. So you just pick your two outside wires, switch them around if it's reverse rotating. Okay, so all I got to do is make that kick up protection on my rudder, do some wire consolidation. Let's listen to the drive line, 4S. Okay, so that's the first time I spooled it up. It had some, like, you got to break in a drive line, especially a drive line with a Teflon liner. It really needs to be broke in, you know. So what I do is I just kind of hold it there for a second, give it a few minutes or a few seconds to cool off. You know, check your stuffing tube for heat. I don't feel any heat at all. Check your stinger or strut for heat. Okay, that's it. It should like work itself in, break itself in. Okay, so I think it's great, man. I think it's great. We're gonna run it. We're gonna run it in the next video. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.